We Solution says, hello there, and welcome to the chat. I am Bill, the company's expert, and thank you all for being here. And thank you to my 400,000 subscribers. You guys are all awesome. Thank you very much. And to my members. We are going to be talking about ChatGPT today. Very, very interesting technology. In fact, I've been commenting about this a lot recently, and it is, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, the only real disruptive technology, truly disruptive technology that I've seen in a long time, possibly since the beginning of social networking. What people used to call the Web 2.0, in the same way that they used to call the internet the information superhighway back in the 80s and in the early 90s. I remember when they were talking about the information superhighway in the 80s, I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. Absolutely no idea. And I only learned later on in the 90s what all the fuss was about. So ChatGPT, we're going to be talking about its effects on business, its effects on technology. And this live stream is called Side Hustle Ideas. So we usually talk about entrepreneurship type things. And the intro that I always do in just a nutshell is to say that I think business is magical, and I think side hustles are great because they allow you a really easy path into the world of business and entrepreneurship, a path that most people can take if they want to. So we're going to be talking about that. Hopefully everybody here has had some experience with ChatGPT. If you haven't, I have, let's see here. I have this, here we go. I have an alternate window here where we're going to get into ChatGPT. This is what it looks like. And I don't know about anybody else, but it's kind of an open secret. If you sign up for it, if you go to OpenAI, that's the company that makes it. So OpenAI.com, I believe. In fact, let's just verify that right now. OpenAI. Okay. So the first thing that comes up, OpenAI.com. This is where you go to sign up for it. I assume it's under products, ChatGPT. And you can sign up for it right up here. Okay. And then you have to create an account. Okay. So basically you just enter your username and select a password, and there you go. There's your account. Now, as I was saying, it's kind of an open secret that for a while there, the default way of signing up didn't actually work. It would say, there's an error creating your account for some reason, and, try again later or something like that. And that a lot of people were seeing that. And I saw that for a very long time. And the workaround for it was when you create an account, they allow you to create an account from scratch where you enter in like an email address. Or there's some options there to say, attach this account to your Google account or to your Facebook account. There were some other options in there. And as I was saying, it's kind of an open secret for a while that the way to get it to work was to say, create an account and attach it to my Google account, my Gmail account, whatever you call it. And I did that and it worked. Okay. After being told that, nope, try again later, it's not working. And for, I don't know, a couple of weeks there, I was like trying again every couple of days, and it wouldn't work. I'd always get the same error. It finally worked if you say, attach this account to my Google account. So if you're trying to sign up and you're encountering that may be a workaround or fix for you. Okay. Hopefully everybody knows what ChatGPT is. Okay. I'm not any kind of technical expert. I'm not a developer, at least, I had a finger in that world like many, many years ago, but that's not why we're here. We're talking about its implications for business, where it could go. Now, if anybody has used ChatGPT, you know that it's kind of clunky, okay? It's far from perfect. There's a lot of limitations in terms of practical applications. Some things it can do, but a lot of things it can't. It does them in an inferior kind of way. But the point I want to stress today is that, holy crap, there's a lot of potential here, okay? If you could get this thing so that, it's overcome a lot of the limitations that it's currently under. My God, the implications of this thing are astounding, okay? It's almost like Google, when Google was first being introduced in 1998 or whatever it was, when Google first came on the scene, it suddenly made search engines actually work, right? And because they actually worked, then it changed the entire way people use the internet, right? You could actually find stuff without knowing what the name of the website is before you start. You could actually go onto the internet and not know precisely where something is, but then find it. What a revolutionary concept, right? Completely changed user behavior and therefore allowed the whole thing to be much more user-friendly, and then just opened up and it took off from there. So this, in my opinion, is going to be that kind of a change. It's going to be huge. And already we're seeing the disruption. If you just look at the news media, what people are saying about ChatGPT. And you know what? Just for the sheer hell of it, let's see what people are saying here. Just for a laugh, ChatGPT in the news. Okay, here we go, news. Okay, here we go. So already in schools, it's creating a ton of disruption, right? Because what you can do is you can go and get ChatGPT to do your homework for you and to do your assignments. Let's see. I was going to say, get in the chat and name me a Shakespeare play or something. I don't know. Let's just type Macbeth. Summarize Macbeth. There we go. Here we go. Hope helps if you see what I'm doing here. So I wrote summarize Macbeth way up here, and as you can see, it's doing some stuff. Right now, when this is done, you can refine your search. You could say summarize Macbeth in 50 words, summarize Macbeth in one sentence, summarize Macbeth in 1,000 words, etc., etc. So already you can see the implications on kids doing their homework and stuff like that, right? So, like, here we go. How about in 50 words? And you see, it remembers your previous conversation, so I don't have to start the entire thing from scratch with every query I do. Okay, so here we go. So we got 50-word summary of Shakespeare. There you go. Now, you might think it's getting stuff off a website. It's not actually getting anything off a website. What it's doing is it's synthesizing what's already out there, and it's sort of creating original content when it gives you these responses. So you can say, what's the biggest, I don't know, symbolism in Macbeth? So a little bit more of an intelligent question. You're not necessarily ripping this right off a website. And there you go. So it's giving you an answer to your question in a nutshell. Okay. You could say, elaborate. Okay. So there you go. So hopefully, if you haven't used ChatGPT, hopefully that just, you get an idea of what this thing is and what its implications are. Now, if we go back over to the news, this is what I think is really cool. Okay. People are going nuts about this thing. Okay. For example, we were talking about homework a moment ago and, the implications for students doing their homework. The sort of knee-jerk response for a lot of educational institutions has been to ban this thing, right? Because, oh my God, this is some kind of unfair tool that people are using in order to do a homework assignment. You could basically, where is it here? You could basically go back to this ChatGPT session. I said, what's the biggest symbolism in Macbeth? It told me. I said, elaborate, and it spat out this. Now, what you could do is you could just sort of copy paste this text into an assignment or something like that and hand that in. And obviously that would be a loophole in the whole concept of homework because it's not actually testing you. You're just using this tool. And I haven't learned a thing about Macbeth. I haven't even read this, but I'm taking it and I'm pasting it into my, how do you put it? This representation of that's supposedly, allegedly, my work and my thoughts. It isn't my work or my thoughts at all. It's coming from this. So here we're seeing some of the reactions to this, the implications of where this could go. And that's the first thing that I had heard about was that in education their knee-jerk response was to ban it, right? And you got to love that. Rather than see it as a tool, rather than see it as something that can enhance learning, let's panic and let's ban it. That's so typical. But this is what they actually mean by disruption. Disruption it's something that's going to change things. And it's not changing it in a nice, easy, approved, controlled way. it's changing it in an uncontrolled, quick way that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people, because it means that the things that you're doing right now are instantly obsolete or they're instantly problematic. So that's what we're seeing. Now, beyond this, what if some people use ChatGPT for? Well, think about any line of work, if you're a knowledge worker or anything like that, where you need to create content, okay? Now, that's like a lot of things, right? Okay, so if you have to, we're not talking about students handing in homework assignments or answering questions in an assignment. We're talking about professionals who are working as knowledge workers. That means they work with their brain, right? And they deal with things like communication as opposed to working with your hands, okay? So knowledge workers, you have to create content. Somebody says something along the lines of, if you work in the marketing department, I need you to come up with a new copy, like new sales pitches, new, like, this is great. I draw a blank when I'm live. But, anything where you create content, you create text, you create ideas, okay? You have to send emails. You have to synthesize something. Okay, you have to get answers to something. These are very general parameters, but anything that is of that nature, you can use this tool to basically do it for you, okay? Now, let's look at my sort of incompetent version of what that would look like. Let's pretend that I'm a YouTuber, and let's pretend that, I don't know, I want to write scripts for YouTube videos, okay? Something like that. So I could say, let's go to my window here. So here I am at ChatGPT. I could say, write me a script for a YouTube video on symbolism in Macbeth. Let's see what it says. Here we go. And it's generating. I don't know if you can guys see this. Maybe I'll just see if I can make this bigger. Here we go. Okay, so it's spitting out what I asked it to do. Write me a script. Okay, now I don't know how long this is going to go on for. I believe it's maybe 1,000 words, I think. I get the impression that when you tell it to do something open-ended, it sort of cuts it off at around 1,000 words. Okay, but I could say stop generating just so I can get on with my life here. Now, I could say, now make it funnier. Oh, something went wrong. Okay. I have never encountered that before. New chat. Let's try this again. Okay. Write me a funny script on for a YouTube video on what was it? Symbolism in Macbeth. I've never seen a YouTube video on Macbeth. I don't know if you have either. But okay, so anyway, so you get the point. It's sort of generating this thing. And so any kind of role where you need to create content, this thing is a game changer, okay? Now, here's what I found about it, okay? If you were to actually look at this script, at least in the examples that I've done some brief research into, it's very basic. It is a script. It is about Macbeth. It is, did I tell it to do it, make it funny? I suppose, but it's very basic. It's not original. It's not brilliant. There's no genius here. It's just very generic, lowest common denominator stuff, okay? If you tell it to write comedy for you, it's extremely unfunny comedy. So anyway, that's kind of where we are right now. However, the implications of if they can get this thing just a little bit smarter, a little bit more capable to overcome maybe some of the limitations that it has in this presumably very early form, it boggles the mind where this can go. Your mind has been boggled, okay? It will be boggled if it hasn't been already. Let's go to the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. As I said, WeSolution says, hello there. Hello, you need to say why hello there. Why? You got to put that in front just to make you sound even more natural. Thank you for being here, WeSolution. Untitled fan. Well, it's better than entitled fan. That's good. Well, Bill, hey, how dare you spell my name with a lowercase b? Well, Bill, I finally now have a job. Well, congratulations, Untitled fan. Somebody who is writing in Cyrillian script says, good day. Is it possible to prepare for interview and find arguments in ChatGPT? Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, I would not recommend it because, like I was just saying, it's very basic, okay? It's also occasionally wrong about facts, right? I haven't encountered too much of that myself that I was able to detect, but supposedly it occasionally makes the occasional big slip up, okay? Like, let's see example here. How to prepare for a job interview. I don't know. I think it's a little slow because it's probably peak hours right now, but it's doing something. Here we go. Preparing for a job interview is crucial to increase your chances of success. You like that voice? So, you get this stuff, and it's technically doing what you ask it, but in my opinion, I mean, this is very, very basic, like a lot of answers it gives you. It's not going to give you, at least in my experience, it doesn't really give you anything that's like absolutely brilliant. But that's not the point. Okay, this thing is incredibly useful for finding information on stuff. So yes, to answer your question, Sir or Madam Cyrillian script, yeah, you can find stuff on there. It'll give you some information on it. As I said, I don't know how useful it is, and this is not about conflict of interest. For me, I'm just saying that's my personal opinion on it. Limaz says, "Hi, Bill." Hi, Limaz. It's great to see you here. Furious Cheddar, I recognize your name. You've been here before. Furious Cheddar says, I was perplexed to see you streaming, but you are Canadian. Well, I can't argue with any of that. I moved to the US over a decade ago, but I still can't differentiate easily. I know, it's like we're Americans, in disguise in a way. But the moment we say a boot, supposedly, or what else do we say? We say, right on, eh? Right? That kind of thing. We get on our horse and, we take the dog sled to work and then come home to our igloo, right? As Canadian as apple pie. That's just how it goes. Yes, I am Canadian. And to my shame. No, I'm just kidding. But now you know everything, right? The truth, the horrible truth is out. And we just have to live with it. But I've reached 400,000 subscribers, so it doesn't matter to me anymore. Just kidding. Furious Cheddar says, it's Memorial Day here today, federal holiday. Yes, Memorial Day. I thought that was, I get confused between that and Veterans Day, right? What you guys call Veterans Day, that's like Remembrance Day for us, November 11th, right? So I'm not sure what Memorial Day is. I know it's some kind of military commemoration type thing. Anyway, lots of respect. Okay, Furious Cheddar. ChatGPT can generate data sheets, by the way, such as SDS, but you should always double check everything there. Still a great tool. Yes, it's very powerful. I mean, I'm just scratching the surface. It's very basic what I'm doing with it. But, back in the day, if you're interested in sort of tech stuff, in IT, this kind of thing, the history of IT, there's been many, many stories told about the people, I forget their names, of course, but the people that invented spreadsheets, right? The electronic spreadsheet, the idea that, you have all these rows and columns, and then, spreadsheets, like every field or many of the fields are based on a mathematical formula or operation. So they sort of, the value of one field is based on the value of a previous field, right? It's a function of a previous one. So the idea was that you could come in and change one field at the beginning and then have every other field automatically update. That was this incredibly earth-shattering concept that people hadn't seen, And the people that invented spreadsheets, they combined several ideas to create this thing, and it absolutely revolutionized not only, things from a technical perspective, but I mean, the implications for, say, the business world. Now you can run scenarios very, very quickly. You could instantly try out a bunch of scenarios, just by changing numbers. Whereas in the past, you would have to essentially hire a person to go through and calculate all the fields manually, right? When you were doing it on pencil and paper. Imagine trying to do that kind of work with pencil and paper. That's what they were doing. And then spreadsheets came along on the computer. It absolutely revolutionized things. So this is kind of like, to me, it seems like this is a new version of that. This is like going to be as big as that was, right? Absolutely incredible what you can do with this. And it also, the other kind of part of this, obviously, is that it's obviously raising a lot of concerns about, privacy, ethics, things like this, right? If you get the AI to do your thinking for you and to come up with the original ideas itself, rather than you doing it, there's some interesting stuff going on there. I don't think in the long run that's going to be much of an issue. What we normally see is that whenever a new sort of technology comes along, like Google, for example, there were those kind of discussions going on. Oh my God, what are the implications? And everybody freaks out about it, or some people freak out about it. The people that are resistant to change, they freak out about it. And, they debate this stuff. And then sometimes you get, constraints and limitations legislated in. So they regulate it, or they try to. You get that sort of phase, but then everybody just gets used to it, and then it's no longer an issue. Okay, like, for example, how controversial is the Google search engine today? Not anything like it was when it first came out and people first really started to use it. Okay, so that's kind of the phase we're in. That's how you know that this thing is pretty fearsome technology, because people are freaking out about that. You can see the fear, how this is going to change things, right? That's what's interesting to me. Anybody can invent some new technically innovative technology in their basement or in a lab somewhere, but the fact that this is having such an immediate adoption rate, and there's a lot of excitement about it, and people are fascinated by it, that leads everyone to start using it, and then people are freaking out about the implications of its use. That's what's interesting. That's why this is going to go somewhere. And they've kind of let the genie out of the bottle. You can't put the lid back on now. This thing is out there. People want it. People see how useful it is. Like regular Joes see how useful this is. They want it. And it's here. And it's only going to get better. So the world has to adapt to it, like they do every major innovation. But I don't know. I just haven't seen people freaking out about recent other developments. Like, what has there been? There's been stuff in the world of robotics, drones, like that kind of technology. There's been a few other things, that are kind of coming down the pike. But people are not freaking out about those. They're freaking out about this. Okay? The idea that your a cloud data center or a cluster of data centers can absorb essentially the internet, all the learning on the internet. They can synthesize it, and then they can present it in this interface where it's almost like you're sitting down with a person having a conversation. Okay. And I mean, I'm not sure if this thing passes the Turing test. I don't think it does. I'm not sure. But if it doesn't pass it, it gets close to it. So it's almost like sitting down with an expert on everything, right? That's where it could go. That's where this thing could go if they beef it up and lift some of the restrictions. That's where this thing could go. And that scares some people, I think. We got to remember that in the past, everybody has been scared by different things. They always predict doom and gloom about every new tool that comes along, how it's going to be the end of humanity, how it's going to finally completely corrupt the next generation. That never happens. At least it's never happened in many, many generations, including upheaval that's even bigger than this, right? Stephen John, how do you say that? Abadies? says, "Hi, Bill. Just wanted to thank you. Every time I want to hop on another job or schedule for a job interview, I always check your Get Hired playlist. Now I'm hired for a part-time accounting job." Well, congratulations, Stephen. That's good news. Yeah. So anyway, ChatGPT has got tremendous implications. If you're not using it already, I recommend that you get on there, sign up for OpenAI, and just start playing around with it. Familiarize yourself with this tool. Now, even if you're in a situation where you can't get it to do your work for you, okay, let's say you need to generate ideas or you need to generate some kind of written content, okay, you need an answer for something, okay, and let's pretend that this thing can't actually really deliver the goods yet, okay. For example, how to prepare for a job interview. Okay, so that's the last thing I typed in at somebody's suggestion, and this is what it spit out. Okay, and research the company, review the job description. So, I mean, it's giving you stuff. It's technically doing what you asked it, but I mean, how useful is this? You probably knew this stuff before, okay? I don't think there's any radical new ideas or really original thought going on or, you know, like really killer tips here. That's just my impression of ChatGPT. But maybe what you could do is you could use this as a starting point. So even though this might not be, you know, the final form of your, like your final output, okay? It can be a starting point. It can be used as a tool right now to sort of start the discussion, get some initial options that you then further refine. A lot of people are better at reacting to things and editing things than creating something brand new from scratch, okay, in a void. So even if it's just for an application like that, this thing is still extremely useful in its current form right now, okay? And that's where a lot of the value is. Now, I've heard of people recommending that, you know, you use ChatGPT to actually generate the content as is, okay? So, I mean, what you get is the final thing. You take whatever it gives you as an answer and you use that as your final product, okay? I'm not quite there yet. I'm not sold on that. As I said, I think it's very basic. I think that you have to scrutinize it because it does sometimes get things wrong. And I've asked it a few basic questions before about things I know about, and it's got them completely wrong. So there is that, okay? So you might have to scrutinize it, edit it, verify it, refine it, etc. But even with all that, tremendously useful tool. Tremendously useful tool. And it's only going to get better. And if you can extrapolate, say 5 years down the road, when do you guys think this thing is going to be at the level where it can rival a human being? Like, say, an expert human being in whatever topic you type into it. When do you think that is? I don't think it's quite there yet. I know it's stronger in certain areas than other areas. It's not even across the board. But if you can extrapolate this out and think like if they can get this thing to be even smarter, to be like where you're sitting down with an expert and it can actually give you creative solutions, original solutions, things that are actually very, very good. Imagine a lawyer entering a question into ChatGPT and saying like, well, how would I argue this case? What are several angles where I could use to argue this case or something like that? And at its current form, if I had to put money on it, I would bet that it won't be able to outsmart a lawyer, a reasonably competent lawyer at the law, right? But if you can extrapolate in 5 years, 10 years, if this thing can rival an expert lawyer, or you could ask it for medical advice, how do you perform this open heart surgery? And it actually told you accurately, like if they can get it to that stage, imagine the implications of this. It's sort of like bringing down instant expertise to everybody. Imagine what that's going to do. We're not there yet. We've got a long way to go to get there. We can see the potential, but holy crap, what would the implications be of that? There's 20 of you guys here. Thank you for being here. I'm surprised there's not more kind of comments in the chat about this. Maybe I'm just a little boring to listen to, but Yeah, I think this is absolutely fascinating. Now, to tie this as a last kind of thing we're going to do today, to tie this to the topic of this live stream, side hustle ideas. What is the implication for if you're wanting to do a side hustle or an entrepreneurial type venture? Well, right now, okay, this is still kind of on the cutting edge, okay? Most people, most businesses have not adopted it yet. Some businesses are starting to adopt it, okay? They're sort of coming in and they've heard that this is a thing. And they might even have a few people in the organization, a few decision makers that realize that this is the way things are going to go. We're going to go into this world where this thing is very, very predominant. We're going to go into that world either with them or without them. And they realize this, okay? However, they have not really begun to use this to its potential yet, okay? And that leaves an opportunity for a lot of people to come in and be able to help a lot of businesses, especially slow-moving businesses. This could be large enterprise. It could also be a lot of small business, right? Traditional businesses. You have a construction business, a plumbing business. It's run by plumbers. They're not down with the latest ChatGPT applications or how you would adapt it, or they don't see how this would be useful, maybe in some of the ways that it could be useful, right? This leaves a lot of opportunity for people to come in and say, look, I can enhance your business by adapting this technology to help you. Okay? Now, you don't even have to be any kind of developer or IT person. You can just manually use this tool and complete tasks for them, right? I spoke earlier about, the sort of cliched thing that a lot of people are saying where, how can I use ChatGPT? Well, get it to create your, your sales campaign. You want copy, you want advertisements, you want promotion of some kind, whether it's emails or posts or whatever. Get ChatGPT to write all your posts, right? You guys know, a lot of you, that I put out a poll every day, or I try to. And the obvious thing for a lot of people would be, just get ChatGPT to write your polls. I'm not doing that because I don't think ChatGPT is very original and good at the moment. But, maybe that's something that could happen in the future. But think of that. You could provide that for business. Okay? You want me to generate posts for you every day? You want me to generate emails for you every day, all with original content, all, with different, value propositions for potential customers? I can do that. And you can do that manually. And you can do this with what? Just a computer and possibly a phone, and that's it. And an internet connection, right? So right now, there's a lot of opportunity for people who can do that, who can help businesses embrace this and take advantage of it, because they don't understand this stuff. They're not IT people, right? They're barely coming to terms with social networking. And then now this thing's here. So there's a lot of opportunities for it. Courtney too says, I will visit Canada. Between people spelling my name with a lowercase b and spelling my country with a lowercase c, I will visit Canada. Can I invite you for a coffee, Bill? I like you very much, and you are just great. Well, thank you. Yeah, if you're in Winnipeg, send me an email or something. Maybe we can do something. Furious Cheddar says, I think that it's a productivity tool that probably many will be slow to adopt. Similar to the spreadsheet tools you mentioned, applications in preliminary research and thought language formulation. I agree with you. And, it's funny you mentioned spreadsheets. You know what happened in the spreadsheet story, right? Where we got electronic spreadsheets. Well, the people that adopted it kicked ass, right? Because they had an advantage, and I don't want to say an unfair advantage, but they had a tremendous advantage over people who didn't, right? I think it's also kind of part of the rise of Apple story, right? Wasn't that the reason why a lot of people bought the Apple II? Because it could run spreadsheets and all this kind of stuff. This is back in the day when if you were in a large organization, you were still, to access a computer, it was a timeshare thing, and you had to go to a terminal, right? And the the access you had to different spreadsheet things was sometimes limited, right? And then people started getting personal computers because now you could have a computer on your desktop that just did all this stuff whenever you wanted, and it did it all for you, right? So the people that embraced this, they reaped a tremendous reward for doing it. The early adopters were rewarded, right? If you're an early adopter of crap technology, you end up further behind, right? But if you're an early adopter of amazing technology, you can reap some tremendous advantages. That's why people do it. And that's what I would predict is going to happen here. So the sooner people get on this, the better. A lot of individuals will get on it pretty soon. The organizations will, this is my prediction, they will not get on it. They'll say they should get on it, okay? That's what they're going to say publicly. Then some of them will make some half-hearted efforts to actually get on it, okay? But the moment they start seeing that it makes part of what they're doing either obsolete or they have to reorganize around it, which is a pain, as soon as they start seeing that reality of it, they'll shy away, okay? This is well-known behavior. You know, they're very much status quo type people. There's a lot of status quo type people, type decision makers out there. And they'd love to get the best of both worlds. They'd love to be able to be hailed publicly as people that recognize the value of, you know, a new tool, new technology. They embrace change. They're looking towards the future. They want the recognition and they want the adoration for that stuff. However, they don't have the guts, or dare I say the balls, to actually put their money where their mouth is and really adopt it. Because what it's going to mean, in addition to reorganizing, it's going to mean they're going to have to cannibalize some of their existing business operations. This is going to create change. You know, you may not need as many people in different departments and things because of this, if you were to really embrace it. That's the thing about things that make you work more efficiently, right? And once they see that, and once they realize that they have to reorganize and make a bunch of changes and all this, then they're going to push back. And the great news is that that's opportunity for all the little people coming in that don't have those kind of hang-ups or issues. You can come in, you can just deliver value with this. So that's where I'll end this today. Just a reminder, if you want to learn business, if you want to be in business, I highly recommend that you learn business. And my $100 MBA course, I'm pointing in the wrong direction. It should be this way. My $100, I can't even see it. My microphone's in the way. $100 MBA course is a thing. It's a thing that I wrote and created for people who want to do precisely that. You want to learn business, but you don't want to break the bank going back to university. But you don't want to get a bunch of pseudoscience that they put into a lot of typical online courses. If you don't know what I mean by that, just look at what people say about leadership. It's just mostly misinformation. So anyway, if you want right from the horse's mouth, right from this thing, and I'm talking about me, I'm talking about you're getting the information from the leading foremost authorities on the various business topics from all over the world. Okay, this stuff is the stuff that literally is taught in places like Harvard, in their MBA program, a lot of other prime universities around the world. Okay, these are the people that are the authorities on it, and you're getting it there. No pseudoscience. You're not getting all my opinions passed off as knowledge. You're getting the genuine article. So if that's of any interest to you, for $100 US, check out that course, and you literally learn everything that you would learn in a brick and mortar MBA. That's what it's based on. It's the same program, same material. It's just that you don't have somebody reading the book to you in a lecture. You have access to the book. You read it on your own terms as much as you want, to the depth you want. And I have some videos that I guide you through it, but it's a self-study thing. So if you're thinking about this stuff and you're serious, I highly recommend it. Brush up on your skills. Then you can avoid making mistakes that I've seen a lot of people make with betting their personal finances and on just bad, risky kind of things and having it blow up in your face. You can avoid all that. So check that out if you're interested. Anyway, I'm just going to read the last couple of questions and then I will be out of here. I'm coming back in about 15 minutes, actually, I have another chat. So stick around for that. Another live stream. It's called, what's it called? It's called Poll Review, where we talk about some of the concepts that I've introduced in the daily polls that I have on my YouTube channel. Okay. Last question, I think. Furious Cheddar says, my curiosity is, given how unpredictable it can be, is how to standardize its implementation. I suppose its value is more in qualitative rather than quantitative application. Yeah, well, this is a trait of truly disruptive technology. It's an unknown quantity. It hasn't been standardized. It isn't in a nice little package, right? People are still learning how they can use this, and new applications are coming along every day. It's very fuzzy. It's like a jungle. There's no rules about it yet. There's no one common understanding about how you would use it yet. That will emerge over time, okay? But right now, we're right at the beginning when this thing is brand new. And it's like when personal computers are brand new. I mean, people didn't know what to do with them. Some people looked at it and said, what the hell use is this? Nobody would ever want that. Other people looked at it and said, oh my God, in 10 years, we will all be wired into a computer and we won't think for ourselves anymore because it'll do absolutely everything for us. I mean, we all know that neither of those worked out. It's always somewhere in the middle. And that's what's going to happen here, but it hasn't stabilized yet. And that's where it's really exciting. And that's where it's a real opportunity. It can even be an arbitrage opportunity for a lot of people coming in that understand it, and they understand how you would apply it to help to either make money directly or help businesses make their money. So there you go. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. You guys are awesome. I will see you shortly on my next live stream called called Poll Review. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Take care.